In 1982, a 24-year-old artist stood at a crossroads that would define not just his career, but the entire music industry for decades to come. Michael Jackson had already tasted success with the Jackson 5 and his solo album Off the Wall, but what he was about to do would transform him from a talented performer into a global phenomenon. The question is, what single decision during the Thriller era turned Michael Jackson into the king of pop? And why does that choice still shape the entertainment world today? Before we dive into this pivotal moment in music history, let's set the stage. By 1982, Michael Jackson was no stranger to the spotlight. He had spent nearly 2 decades in the entertainment industry, starting as an 11-year-old frontman for the Jackson 5, and according to biographers, his 1979 album Off the Wall had already established him as a serious solo artist, selling over 20 million copies worldwide and producing 4 top 10 hits. Yet despite this success, Jackson felt underappreciated. Historical accounts indicate that he believed Off the Wall deserved Album of the Year at the Grammy Awards. And when it didn't win, something shifted inside him. He became determined, some might say obsessed, with creating something unprecedented. The early 1980s marked a transformative period in the music industry. MTV had launched in August 1981, revolutionizing how audiences consumed music. However, according to industry reports, the network nominally featured rock artists and rarely played videos by black artists. This created both a challenge and an opportunity. Radio was still king, but visual media was gaining power. The question facing any artist at that time was simple yet profound. How do you reach audiences beyond traditional radio play? Michael Jackson's answer would change everything. In collaboration with producer Quincy Jones, Jackson began recording what would become the Thriller album in April 1982. But it wasn't just the music that made Thriller revolutionary. According to those who worked with him, Jackson had a vision that extended far beyond creating hit songs. He understood something that most artists of his era didn't. In the emerging age of visual media, the music video wasn't just promotional material, it was art itself, a way to create narrative, build mythology, and transcend the limitations of radio. The album Thriller was released on November 30, 1982 through Epic Records. The production quality was exceptional, featuring collaborations with industry legends like Eddie Van Halen on the guitar solo Zoa Beat It, and Paul McCartney on The Girl Is Mine. But the real genius, biographers suggest, lay in Jackson's strategic approach to the album's rollout. Rather than releasing all potential hits at once, the singles were carefully spaced, each accompanied by increasingly ambitious music videos. The first breakthrough came with Billie Jean. According to music historians, Jackson invested his own money, approximately $50,000, into creating a music video that was more cinematic than anything MTV had seen before. The video featured groundbreaking visual effects, including the now iconic illuminated sidewalk tiles that lit up under Jackson's feet. But the impact went beyond aesthetics. When MTV initially resisted playing the video, citing their rock format, CBS Records president Walter Yetnikoff reportedly threatened to pull all CBS artists from the network. MTV relented, and Billie Jean became one of the first videos by a black artist to receive heavy rotation on the channel. This decision, this willingness to invest personal funds into visual storytelling and to fight for airtime, represented a fundamental shift in how artists could build their careers. Jackson wasn't just making music, he was creating an autonomous empire. If you're interested in how strategic decisions in the music industry can reshape entire careers, subscribe to this channel, because we're going to explore every aspect of Michael Jackson's business acumen throughout this series. The success of Billie Jean was immediate and undeniable. According to chart records, it reached #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 in March 1983 and stayed there for 7 weeks. But Jackson wasn't satisfied. His next move would prove even more ambitious. For the title track Thriller, he envisioned something that had never been attempted before: a 14-minute short film with a narrative structure, choreographed zombie sequences, and theatrical makeup effects. Historical records show that Jackson approached film director John Landis, known for An American Werewolf in London, to helm the project. The budget was unprecedented for a music video, estimated at $500,000. To finance it, Jackson and Landis created a documentary called The Making of Thriller, which was sold to MTV and home video markets. This move demonstrated Jackson's business savvy. He understood that the process itself had commercial value. The Thriller music video premiered on December 20, 1983, on MTV. According to viewership data from that era, it became a cultural phenomenon. The video wasn't just played, it was an event. MTV cleared its schedule to air it twice every hour. Home video sales of The Making of Thriller eventually exceeded 5 million copies, earning a Guinness World Record. Jackson had proven that a music video could be a profit center in itself, not merely a promotional expense. But what made the Thriller-era decision truly empire-building wasn't just the individual successes. It was the systematic approach Jackson took to every aspect of his career during this period. Biographers note that he was involved in every detail: the album art, the video concepts, the choreography, the fashion choices, the single white sequined glove, the red leather jacket, the moonwalk debut at the Motown 25 television special in May 1983. These weren't random choices, they were carefully crafted elements of a personal brand that would become instantly recognizable worldwide. The numbers tell a staggering story. By 1984, Thriller had generated 7 top 10 singles, a record that still stands. According to the Recording Industry Association of America, the album was certified 33 times platinum in the United States alone. Global sales estimates vary, but most sources place the figure between 66 and 70 million copies, making it the best-selling album of all time. But beyond the commercial success, the cultural impact was immeasurable. Jackson had broken racial barriers on MTV, elevated the music video to an art form, and demonstrated that black artists could dominate global pop culture. The business implications of Jackson's Thriller-era decisions extended far into the future. He understood the value of owning his work. In 1985, after the success of Thriller, he purchased the ATV Music publishing catalog, which included the rights to most Beatles songs, for $47.5 million. According to business analysts, this acquisition demonstrated his understanding that in the music industry, publishing rights often generate more long-term wealth than performance royalties. Take a moment to share this video with anyone interested in music history, because these business lessons remain relevant for artists today. Jackson's influence on the music video format cannot be overstated. Before Thriller, music videos were often simple performance clips or low-budget visual accompaniments. After Thriller, they became essential marketing tools with cinematic production values. Artists from Madonna to Prince to contemporary performers like Beyoncé have all followed the blueprint Jackson created. Invest in visual storytelling, create iconic imagery, and use videos to build mythology around your music. The Thriller era also marked a shift in how artists approached live performance. Jackson's choreography became increasingly complex and theatrical. His dance style, blending elements of funk, soul, and mime, influenced generations of performers. According to dance historians, moves like the moonwalk, the robot, and his signature lean, smooth criminal became part of popular culture's visual vocabulary. He didn't just perform, he created spectacle. Yet the Thriller era wasn't without its challenges and criticisms. Some observers noted that Jackson's increasing focus on visual perfection and his meticulous control over his image took a psychological toll. The pressure to follow up Thriller was immense. Industry insiders have suggested that Jackson felt the weight of expectations in a way few artists have experienced. The success created a standard that even he would struggle to replicate. Looking at the Thriller era from a historical perspective, several key decisions stand out. First, Jackson's willingness to invest his own money into creative visions that others deemed too expensive or risky. Second, his understanding that breaking racial barriers at MTV wasn't just about representation. It was about accessing new audiences and revenue streams. Third, his recognition that in an emerging visual media landscape, controlling your image was as important as controlling your sound. And finally, his business acumen in understanding publishing rights and long-term asset value. These decisions built an empire that extended far beyond album sales. According to financial records from that era, Jackson's earnings from Thriller-related activities, including touring, merchandising, and video sales, generated hundreds of millions of dollars. But more importantly, it established him as a brand. The name Michael Jackson became synonymous with excellence, innovation, and global superstardom. The influence of the Thriller era on subsequent artists provides perhaps the clearest evidence of its importance. When you examine the careers of artists who emerged in the decades following 1982, from Justin Timberlake to Usher to Bruno Mars, you see Jackson's influence in their emphasis on choreography, their investment in high-quality music videos, and their understanding of visual branding. The template he created during the Thriller era became the standard playbook for pop stardom. It's worth examining what made Jackson's approach different from his contemporaries. While other artists of the early 1980s were certainly talented and commercially successful, few thought as systematically about building a multimedia empire. According to music industry historians, Jackson studied entertainment moguls like Walt Disney and Berry Gordy. He understood that lasting cultural impact required more than hit songs. It required creating a world that fans wanted to inhabit. The technological timing of the Thriller era was also crucial. MTV was new and hungry for content that would attract viewers. Home video was becoming a viable market. Music television shows were gaining prominence. Jackson didn't just adapt to these changes, he anticipated them and positioned himself to maximize their potential. This forward-thinking approach, biographers suggest, separated him from artists who were simply reacting to industry trends. Yet perhaps the most profound aspect of Jackson's Thriller-era success was how it changed the conversation about what was possible for black artists in mainstream entertainment. Before Thriller, the music industry was heavily segregated. Radio formats, record store sections, and award categories reinforced these divisions. By achieving success that couldn't be contained within those categories, Jackson forced the industry to reconsider its structures. His crossover success opened doors for countless artists who followed. The legacy of the Thriller-era decision continues to resonate today. When contemporary artists invest millions in music videos, when they carefully craft their social media presence, when they think about fashion and choreography as integral to their artistry, they're following the path Jackson carved in the decision to treat music as a multimedia experience, to invest in visual storytelling, and to think strategically about branding wasn't just smart, it was revolutionary. In examining the Thriller era, we see a masterclass in how artistic vision, combined with business acumen, can create cultural transformation. Jackson didn't just make a successful album, he redefined success itself. He showed that an artist could be both creative visionary and shrewd businessman, that commercial success and artistic integrity weren't mutually exclusive, and that breaking barriers required not just talent, but strategy. So when we ask what decision during the Thriller era built Michael Jackson's empire, the answer isn't a single choice. It was a series of interconnected decisions, rooted in a fundamental understanding that in the modern entertainment landscape, controlling your narrative, investing in your vision, and thinking beyond traditional boundaries wasn't optional. It was essential. And that lesson, forged in the studios and on the sets where Thriller came to life, remains the foundation upon which music empires are still built today. In our next episode, we'll explore how Jackson attempted to follow up this unprecedented success with the Bad album and the immense pressure that came with being the king of pop. What happens when you've set a standard even you can't surpass? The answer might surprise you. Until then, the Thriller era stands as a testament to what's possible when vision meets opportunity, and when an artist dares to think bigger than anyone thought possible.